I want to welcome you to a special late night edition of the Warzone. Tell you, thank you for taking the time out to tune in. Um, Without you guys, I wouldn't have a show, so I greatly appreciate it. Know it's a little late, but all three of us just left this meeting. We made it home. We did what we needed to do, and we decided that we would come on here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be the gentleman right now. And I'm gonna give the flow to Nikki Kaiser. Tonight, Nikki, what did you see? What did you hear?
Listen, first of all, thank you, Gary, for having me on. 5-star General, thank you. We appreciate you from Simply Her Movement. We appreciate being able to come on and share your platform with being able to educate and inform our families about what we really experienced here tonight. We experienced a pep rally. I didn't know that, Monroe, we were going to a pep rally. Someone should have told me we were going to be pumped, pushed, pried, and finagled, dangled carrots, and all of these other fun things. And people are going to play without playing our face, in, as the children say. That's what happened tonight. That's the cutest way I can say it. There was no pun intention of us being educated, voices being heard, or some kind of real solution for a huge issue that we have that did not just happen today, not just happen when the mayor made that announcement publicly on last Wednesday. This is an issue that has been going forth, and now we have a major problem.
Tamika, same question. What did you see and hear tonight?
Well, as my sister said, thank you, Mara, for having us on this show. It was unfortunate because I went there because I wanted to hear a real solution. It's almost like sitting and watching an episode of Martin where you can kind of recite every script, every word, what they're gonna say, because we've watched this show before, and I'm a proud product of North Forest ISD, and it's sad to say we've seen this before. And so to sit in a room with all of the same people who created the problem, but we didn't hear not one. I didn't hear one solution that I can hold and well, I can see what it was really just fans in the
You breaking up.
about oh, okay, I'm sorry. It was all about optics, just to have fans, people in the seats, to make the room look full, but they had no intention to hear from the people. So I mean, it's just very disheartening, to hear so many people say they care about HISD, they care about the schools, they care about the kids, but nothing was said tonight about the kids.
Well, when they say they care about the kids, now in case y'all don't know, each one of us walk our schools. Each one of us engage with our schools multiple times a week. Yeah. So we know what's going on in our schools. Yeah. The disrespect to me was having two microphones in the aisles. And normally when that is happening, that is to allow the people in the audience to speak. But I think the game plan changed when they saw certain people come through the door.
Absolutely.
So they didn't want us to speak. But what's amazing is, like you said, and I wasn't there, you guys would know, you ladies would know this better than me, that these are the same suspects that was there when North Forest got shut down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Forest Brook, stand up. Smiley, stand up. Yeah. The whole entire amazing North Forest community, stand up. We experienced this. We experienced this all too well. Like, trust and believe you me, Gary, this is something that we really seriously went and fought tooth to nail. That's why you still have Forest Brook name, because as a Forest Brook alumni, that was the thing that we fought for them to keep our name. We fought for Smiley so that they could be able to keep that school and not tear it down. Well, thank God that it is a historical landmark and it's not able to be torn down because of the original person who is named after. So they just did something as far as take the name off of it and just make it an educational facility. But as far as the building itself being able to be destroyed, it's supposedly not to be able to be destroyed. And just the fact is that how fast they sold off the land.
Yeah.
Like you talking about tore down schools, sold the land, because again, we already know that if you don't know, let's educate the people, Monroe. And that is that when you are a public school system, you are a nonprofit organization. So the land and the building you have, the land you can purchase, the building is considered to be a donation. So when you build schools, it's built under a donation. That's why they always get someone to sponsor or a donor to go in half with them on money. Why? Because again, they can build that school, and if they tear that school down, they will have to find a reason for it to be torn down and call it a condemned building. Well, okay, North Forest didn't have the best of the schools, and yes, there was some reconstruction that needed to be done. However, our schools was not into a position to where we just needed to take our schools and tear them all the way down and make the land available to be sold. And so now a lot of the spaces that they sold end up turning out to being a dump site, a wasteland. Now we have commercial trucking businesses, concrete batches, batch centers in our community, whereas these were things that was not supposed to have been there. These were, the plan of action was to build the schools and add on another high school and open up an opportunity for the alumni, as they were doing, to come back and work in their schools. And that's what everybody was doing. Everyone was ready to come and be a part of, able to educate. Absolutely, Kim. Tidwell Elementary torn down. Now it's a full, what is it? A gas station now. But the disheartening part of it is they tried to make it out to seem as if the staff of North Forest, which they did their part of, destroying a lot of things, but they tried to say that they destroyed our records and they destroyed. No. When HISD, I never forget this, Monroe, when HISD came through down Tidwell, they came with a full motorcade of all of their HISD policemen on bikes, on the horses, and also in cars, because they were so afraid of how we as the community was going to behave, because our schools were being taken away.
Yeah.
And that's why they end up putting up the wrought iron fence thing and saying that was their improvement. Let's also call out the big elephant, the pink elephant in the room. Here's the other thing. HISD keep hollering about they ain't got no money. HISD got the North Forest budget, because you need a budget. They got the North Forest budget. See, that's another reason why we were a hot commodity, because you get a budget. The government gives you a budget. I don't care what nobody tell you, Monroe. I don't care what none of the elected officials tell you lies about. It is noted. You are going to get that money for that district, because why? That's an increase in your school. That is an increase in your funding, in your placing it of the people who you need to serve. Ain't no way they're going to give you just that one little budget and say, you doing a kind gesture by taking us. No.
Well, let me ask y'all.
No, we didn't want to go with them. We wanted to go to Sheldon.
Well, let me ask y'all a question. When they came through and they shut down North Forest, how bad did the crime get?
Man. So let's just go here. And I actually went to Forest Brook and Smiley.
Right, she doesn't count.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's a whole nother subject. Those were rival schools for years. You merging two rival schools. There were fights on top of fights, and that's my biggest concern. everybody's talking about the money, the land grab. Yeah, we know that. But what about these kids?
Yeah.
Because school is the most structured place that a lot of these kids have.
Yeah.
Right? So if you take that away from them, you forcing them out in the street, right? Because somebody gonna fall through the cracks, right? Because as soon as they took over North Forest, they start shutting down schools. Tidwell closed. I mean, like, so where do these kids go? Some had the fortunate opportunity to go to Sheldon or Humble, you know, because they had parents that could drive them to school and take them and pick them up. Some of these kids don't have that opportunity. So what do? They on the street. They getting it how they live.
Yep.
But until they start knocking on your door, I guess then that's when you'll be concerned about it.
And I want to make a note of that too, that was the first thing that Granitha Latham did. She went door to door and came into the North Forest communities, and she was walking and talking to these parents about their children coming back to school, and she was successful in getting those kids back to school because our kids then had to go over to Kashmir. They had to go to North Forest High, but they were really truly motivated to go to school because this lady walked these grounds and made it happen for these kids to come back to these schools. She increased back the population of the children at Kashmir.
So we now are gone. Latham's gone. And for those that didn't understand her greatness, she's in Springfield, Missouri. They just renewed her contract. They love her in Springfield. And if they don't know, Springfield is at least 85% white. So for what you didn't love here, they love her in Missouri.
Come on.
And now we're here suffering. So now we're going to talk about Millard House. You know, and the only reason I ain't cussing because Nick is a pastor. So y'all gonna get a pass on it tonight. And I'm gonna respect her as a religious, you know, as a religious person.
They ain't stop you at the church tonight,
but no, I would God knew my heart in that church because I wasn't holding my tongue. I was on my best behavior.
But I was getting ready to say, Gary, I gotta give you your kudos because you did behave well. And I wanted to get out of character so many times, especially when that braid got up there. I had to get myself together because that was too much. Like, wait a minute. How did we come here, Deborah Cox, and this turned into a full pep rally and everybody's getting on stage and they throwing out their accolades like, what? Nobody told me that. Yeah. So, Gary, you did good. You did.
So, Millard tonight was a prime example of how this is not about kids. They wanted people to give him a standing ovation for the work that he's done in your community. What type of work has that been, Tamika and Nikki? Because anytime I got to go over to a school because they ain't got tutoring, but yet they say they got $180,000, you know, in your community, that's strange to me. So did he deserve a standing ovation or am I calling a spade a spade?
You calling a spade a spade. A lot of people are, you know, saying they haven't even seen him in the schools. Like he's not even making a presence at some of these schools that are in trouble, you know, that need resources, need the help. He's not present.
Now
I saw that man one time when Kashmir got they rating award. That's when I saw him. That one time when he was I saw him when they got that little reward one time. I'm just trying to think of what it was he came over to Kashmir for. Yeah, it was when they got that little reward sometime like that. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm trying to be so serious. Like that was the only time I knew he got the little reward.
Now we keep hearing them tossing out that HISD is a B-rated school district and Wheatley is a C+ campus. But what a lot of people don't know is TEA lowered their standards last year. So if their standard was a 10, they lowered it to a 6.
Right.
And that allowed us to exceed their new standard, which was a 6. But this year, they're going back to the old standard. And the STAR test will be on the laptops. And from what I understand, they're going to be proctored exams. So how do you think we'll actually do? Because most of our schools in the troubled neighborhoods, the schools that are struggling, they don't have certified teachers. We're struggling on certified teachers. They don't have resources. So how do you two ladies realistically think that we will do on this test?
We're not going to do well. It's not going to be a realistic well doing of the test. One of the things I want us to understand is that truly, honestly, Wheatley has experienced a lot. They have really truly experienced a lot. Before pandemic, they were going through this major change of trying to get a solid principal. That was one of their major issues, to try to get some solid administration. And of course, being that their administrator at the time, he was there trying to pull up and just walk up the ladder and just utilizing whatever area which was available, friends knowing friends, and being able to push him in a position and get him to be able to move from that place to the next place. Then you had one principal that stayed. I think the lady stayed about 2 weeks and then was like, no, I'm out of here. Went to a whole nother district. And then you finally got a principal that said, okay, I'll stick and stay and try my very best, and was hit with all of these things. And then pandemic, of course, came along. These children were not able to do school because the pandemic put them in a limit. And you were expecting these children to utilize their laptops, sit in their houses that is filled with some type of trauma, drama, and no stability. You're asking them to sit in the house and try to go to school when that's the place that they're trying to get away from so that they can do something solid. So right now, they were offered, supposedly to been offered tutoring services. I'm not sure if they've received the tutoring services, but they're not prepared. They're really, honestly, realistically not prepared to do it.
Tamika, how you think they're gonna do?
For me personally, I don't think it matters if they do well or not. I think they've already made their deal. We repurpose. We already know what they want to do with the school. So it's not going to matter do well or not. They're going to find a way to take the school. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, tonight, as Tamika is saying this tonight, when you came out of the building, you ran into Sergio Lira from LULAC, and you told him, you say, I didn't hear any solutions. And what was his response?
The one that preached?
Yeah. What was his response, Tamika?
Oh, he said, well, Wheeler just has to be repurposed. That's what needs to happen. But what does that mean?
That means close it down.
Right.
But that's not their option. That's TEA's option. And TEA right now wants their blood.
So let's start here. Let's start here, Gary. Let me ask that question. For one, do you believe that the parents in the community even know who TEA is and what they do?
No.
So the lack of knowledge. Our people perish for a lack of knowledge. The fact that they don't even know what they're cheerleading for, they're just rallying up a band, and taking people down, telling folks, let's take folks down to let's take people down to Austin, and they don't even know what they're going for. They just going.
Well, let me answer Erica's question. She said, will they be able to cheat? Basically on the STAR test, it won't even be possible. And that's why the scores are going to tank. Because there is no such growth for a school to go from an F to an A. That is not realistic. You cannot do that in 1 year.
Yeah.
You don't have that much growth unless you cheated. And they know it. So I'll take you guys back for a second. Remember the principal at Madison High School. We call her the bonnet principal that had an issue with the parents and the dress codes. Well, this lady was eventually removed from James Madison High School because I got my hands on a TEA investigation from the prior special ed coordinator at Peck Elementary where she was. And basically what the investigation uncovered is that those kids had been cheating on the STAR test at Peck. So once I unloaded it, I think it was about a week later, they removed her from the school. They will never say why they removed her, but I know. So can you cheat on the STAR test? Yes, you can. Will they be able to cheat this year? No, they will not. Somebody gonna go to jail if they try. Somebody's gonna go to jail. But the thing about it is there were no solutions tonight. And that tells me something right there, that we got the blind leading the blind.
Right.
We got the blind leading the blind. I don't care how many, alphabets they got after their names. They don't have the knowledge or expertise to come up with viable solutions to fix these schools. And their way of fixing the schools is to repurpose them or close them down. Well, that's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Now, there are some schools with some really, really low enrollments, but they're on the elementary school side. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, yeah, we're going to have to look at some type of school closures, because elementary would probably be a little bit better or a little bit more easier to pull off than trying to go to middle school or high school. Because if you close Key or Fleming and you try to merge those schools, you're going to have a problem on your hand. Absolutely. If you close Cullen or Attucks and you try to merge those schools, you're going to have a problem on your hand.
Yes.
So what I feel is right now we got the wrong people standing in front of the community for parents to even understand who TEA is and what they do.
And this is the part. This is the part too that we need to keep in mind, Gary, is that so that we can cancel that assignment and that word of parents didn't show up. Parents did show up.
They
tonight.
did show up.
They showed up. And they showed up with the expectation that their voices was going to be heard. Yeah. And that they were going to get some questions answered, and that there was going to be some type of solution goal put to the table so that they can go home and share with others who were not available. So even the children themselves came in with a heart to speak up for their schools.
But
to me, that was so disrespectful. You had these kids to come up to take a picture, and you didn't say one thing to give them hope that you were going to fight to keep the school. To me, that was so disrespectful. But I want to go back to what Erica she made a comment about the parents being uninformed or misinformed. And I looked at Monroe, I'm like, we got to have our own meeting, because the parents did show up and the parents stayed a while. But as they start seeing that nothing was really said of substance, they start leaving by the droves. So they came with hope and left empty. So we can't say that parents don't want to know. They came out to be informed, but again, that was another empty meeting.
And also make sure you say about their behavior, because you know how we always get that information wrong. They behaved well.
Yeah.
Because everybody in there patiently waited.
Yeah. I mean, and they had it set up for people to speak, but then something changed. And I really think it was the Monroe factor when I showed up. But at the end of the day, I know how to conduct myself.
You did.
But I'm angry because I know what's going to happen if they play this game. If you keep Millard House one more year to honor his contract, we're going to bankrupt ourselves. We're going to bankrupt ourselves. We will not recover from this. You see what I'm saying? But they can't let TEA come in.
We need to also keep in mind that it's now time for the audit of that North Forest money.
But see, that's what I'm finna tell you. That's exactly where I was going. If TEA comes in, the first thing they're gonna do is audit. And it's going to be a whole bunch of folks exposed and a whole bunch of missing money, whether it's North Forest or HISD, that they're not going to be able to account for.
Wow.
So that's the scary part for them, because some folks can go to jail. And they have no clue what they're doing. You know, here's my thing. You had all those people on that stage that seem to know what's best for our children. You had people like from Harris County with Chris Hollins sitting in the, you know, the audience.
He didn't stay long. That's the guy that voted for the mayor.
But here's my question. If our kids have been struggling for 4 to 5 years, where you Negroes been hiding?
Right.
Where you been hiding when Nikki needed help on the north side? Where you been hiding when I needed help on the south side?
Right.
Where y'all been, man?
Mm-hmm.
Where y'all, you like Red Fox said on Sanford and Son, it was more niggas in there tonight than they had in the Tarzan movie. Where y'all been?
Right.
Our kids have been struggling, and they're struggling right now. For the man that wants us to give this man a standing ovation, can you tell me, Congressman, why I know at least 10 different schools whose schools' credit cards were turned off last week? What's really going on?
And also, please include those vendors who hadn't gotten their invoice.
Exactly.
Run them their money.
But we ain't talking about the vendors that's cool with the superintendent and Rick Cruz that's making all the money. They provide tutoring and enrichment programs that are not even at the schools.
Right. That part.
And getting millions of dollars for this. We ain't talking about the people that left HISD, or I'm going to resign, or I'm going to retire, and then 2 months later, they back in the district as a vendor, telling us what we need to do with our children. But you said something profound, that we need to have our own meeting. I called my good friend Sam over at BH Ranch. And on the 26th of March, it's a Sunday afternoon. We won't keep you long, but we're going to be strong. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting. But here's the thing. We ain't just having a meeting in Harm Clark. We coming to the north. Yeah. We going to the east. And we going to the west. Yeah. And you know what's disrespectful? If nobody had a plan to fix those schools, I did. Yeah. And Bishop Dixon, I spoke to you maybe an hour before the meeting started. And yet you acknowledge all these people. And it doesn't matter to me if they never acknowledge me. I could care less. But you got the top education advocate in the country. I've earned my stripes. And you deny me in public?
Of course.
He needed the cheat code. He wanted the cheat code. That's all.
No, but Nick is the pastor. So you deny me in public, huh? Yeah. That sounds Jesus-like to me. You deny me in public when I'm the only help you got. So I'm gonna say it right here, right now, so he can understand it and he can hear it. Because I know somebody that told him to watch. Oh, yeah. I was supposed to meet you next week. Negro, I'm not meeting you. Go to the governor and get your bag on. Let me see if you can pull a Keith Sweat when you get to the Capitol.
Get on them knees.
Get on your knees and start begging. See, because the one thing I'm never going to do for anybody, I'd rather die on my back than to ever live on my knees. I'm not begging. I'm not coming to your table. I got my own table.
And they did. They said that, if you have an out with them, bring them to... I'm like, so what you need not to do is sit there and play with God's word like that now. Because the realization of it is this here. And this is where I'm at with all of it. And I've said this to everybody that knows me, know that the problem that we have here today is now we want this transparency. We want everybody to back us up. The school board want us to keep them. Y'all go fight for us. When you've been constantly running around here, I know for our district person, she been running around here hollering about, oh no, I'm for the superintendent. You got to go to the principal for that. And parents are like, well, we've been trying to communicate with the principals and everything. Like, we trying to get a communication fact feed going, and so we can. So can you navigate us? Oh no, I'm for the superintendent, ma'am. And then when they do ask a direct question about the superintendent, it's a dance. So my thing is this here. Now you want us to come and fight for you, but when it was time for you to fight for the people, see, the thing of it is, I'm from old school. Carol Mims Galloway got me spoiled. And that's because Carol went in the schools. Carol was on everybody. She checked the school, the principal, the superintendent, the janitor. She didn't have not a respectable person. Everybody got it. I am so used to school reps that we appoint and vote for to go into places and make things occur. And change comes forth. I'm not saying she was perfect. What I'm saying is that there was a present. And when the people know that you are present there, they have no problem with going to the board meetings. They have no problem with going to the mountaintop and fight for you. And if you just don't know, just say, I don't know. Yeah. So that's the thing that we have to start remembering. And then, of course, we got now everybody that was on that stage is responsible, with the exception of a few, is responsible in some kind of way of why HISD is sitting in the seat that it is. And the person who has held this seat for 30 years in the 18th Congressional District is the main individual who needs to be accountable for all of the steps that have been taken and made. And if we could get her out this camera and really seriously start some real live working in these days of whatever it is, at times, maybe you can make a little bit of something wrong, a lot of wrongs that you did. Maybe somebody can kind of have a little grace for you and give you a little bit credit of some rights. Because whenever you ask a question of, well, what is it that she's done? Mm-hmm. I get this question all the time. What do she do besides being a camera? When people know that you just stand in front of a camera and you're not saying nothing of substance in that camera, you are called a celebrity. You're called a famous groupie. You're called somebody that just trend sets. But you are not doing the work that needs to get done. We need people that's going to get in these community streets and really advocate and work. I know everybody got a place. Politicians got a place. We put you there because we was under the impression that you can dialogue and go back and take our needs and say, this is what the community is asking for. This is the avocation of what we're standing on. And this is how we're going to help move them forward and assure them that their needs are going to be met. At least something is going to be met. But 30 years of you sitting in a seat, what have you really done for us lately, baby? Besides,
what have you done? That's the question.
So here's the question. Are we talking about, and I'm saying this, not Nikki and Tamika, are we talking about the same lady that's the congresswoman that I have a letter that can prove that she sold North Forest out to TEA?
Baby, we already know that. We not there. If you went to North Forest, if you went to North Forest and if you was in that fight like I was, Tamika was, you know the logistics of all of that. And it's simply what it is. Like I said, everybody that has sat in that seat, in that position, and did something dealing with that transaction. Even our mayor himself has sat on his grown tail and tried to clean up the problem and say, I want to be the first to say, no. And I know y'all gonna say, wait, man, you was on it too. Y'all.
Yeah, but they don't want to talk about that part. That's the part that they want to keep sweeping over. But I'm just at the point, I'm tired of wasting my time going to these meetings, hearing these empty promises. Because 2 weeks ago, we was at Cashmere. What happened at Cashmere?
Same thing.
You can't even get, I even asked that as a question to the board member that works in our district. Can we at least get the baseball field grass cut? Let's just get some grass. That's something that's not hard. That's a matter of calling groundskeeping and telling them, hey, cut the grass. I mean, just cut the grass at this point. Our actions are not major. We know we get, let me say this. Monroe, we know we are getting screwed without gasoline. We know this.
Yes.
We know that and when I say we, I'm talking about underserved, underprivileged, low-income communities, low, middle-class families make this world go around. We know that without our children, Black, brown children in the school system, we know that there will be no money. We know that the people who are in these political seats, whether you are Democrat or Republican, you don't really have our best interests at heart. Democrats, you get your money off the top. Republicans, you get yours in the back end. Either way it goes, we still gonna be messed around on. So we know these things. But the only thing that we are asking as a community is at least give us some crumbs from the pie so we can be able to at least provide somewhat of a resource to survive and live. You know, we are noted to take nothing and make a whole lot of something from it. But Can you at least be fair and right? And how do you sleep at night knowing that you have screwed a whole lot of folks?
For 30 years.
For 30 plus years and beyond. And the thing of it is this here. The storyline, let's stop this foolishness about, oh, we volunteers, we don't get no money. We pay you a stipend. Stop playing with me. And all of what I'm saying is public information.
Yeah.
We lack this knowledge because we don't read for this knowledge. And we have been traditionally set to where my mama voted for him, so let me vote for him. Stop it. Because the children of today are not going along to get along. They want some real life answers. And because we now, Gary, we now, Tamika, are considered to be the generation of next, it's going to be on us to be able to teach the generation to come what's supposed to happen. So the best thing I can say is this here. We got to educate. We got to make sure we are educating our people, and we got to stop making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are privy to these rooms and to these people, it is your job to make them accountable. We're not saying that you're perfect, because a lot of these problems that we're facing, it wasn't a problem. But you are there now. When are you going to become what we all three have asked for? What is the solution? Because tonight,
no solution.
Tonight is a foolish game. It was no solution. It was a play in our face. It was a real disrespectful move to invite families there who probably had to get off their job, had to come home, then still sit there from 6, because the meeting was on time.
Yeah.
From 6:30 to 8:30, and you did not allow nobody.
Not one person.
Not one person that was not on a stage with an accolade, with a title, with some kind of credential that you felt comfortable with. And right, Gary Monroe, you are absolutely correct. When you walked in the room, when Nikki A. Kaiser walked in the room, when Lloyd Floyd walked in the room, and there was a few more others that walked in that room who we all are considered to be 100% boots on the ground, community voices. We make a loud noise and we make sure that you are accountable. You didn't want to hear that. Because you knew we was coming with straight statements. Nobody had a question for you. We was coming with
they don't want to be held accountable.
Yeah.
They want to keep running game.
Yeah.
But see, this game is a shell game. Because eventually karma catches up with you in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And see, where we're going to suffer is when they decide they're going to start closing the Wheatleys and the different schools. And now all of a sudden, these kids ain't going to get on a bus to go across town.
Nope.
They're going to be running the streets.
Yep.
And they're going to be trying to survive.
Yep.
You know, I always say the most dangerous kids you will run into is one that's armed with a diploma, but a subpar education. Because they got to eat regardless. And as you can see, the 2 days in a row, you had 2 different white people in affluent neighborhoods that had somebody run up on them in their garages with the pistols in their faces. But see, these people think that this won't happen. You know, whatever Congressman Al Green, Sheila Jackson Lee, whatever. Me, I'm not trying to hear nothing y'all talking about no more. I don't want to hear nothing you talking about no more.
Because they're not talking about much of anything.
Because you ain't talking about nothing. You down with them people.
Yep.
Y'all, at the end of the day, y'all all in bed together.
Wait a minute, Gary. How about she tried to push, and may God bless our armed services and those who serve. But this lady sat up there and pushed, literally sat up there and pushed, send your children to the military. Man, that's going to raise your grade. What? See, that's the part they don't tell y'all. First of all, ma'am, you are on the Veterans Committee. Stop playing with me. You get paid from that, boo. Stop joking. And also, any agenda you pushing, now you want us to sue so you can get on the agenda ballot for that. Girl, stop playing with us.
Yeah.
I would love to hear this lady say one time, just one time, y'all cut the cameras and really seriously allow me to do some work. Because all that playing around, you just don't see that. Y'all see the cameras. Baby, let me tell you something. 1, 2, 3 on this here live, we are privy to some rooms and blessed to be in some spaces where we know. And y'all know we not lying on you.
Yep. They dropped the ball tonight. They really did. There was a lot of parents out there that really could have, if they had did the meeting.
No, that was going to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
Wanted to see. Listen, exactly. Everybody, and that's the craziness of it all. Like, we quietly sat there and waited. I really had a hope to say, well, maybe they got one solution. Yeah.
And what was funny, Monroe was like, I'm ready to go. And then Erica said, well, now let's wait. Then I said, you know what, forget this. Let me out. I'm ready to go. Then Nikki said, now wait. What we waiting? And it got to a point that we all just said, let's go.
Yeah, because it was a waste of time at that point. It was a waste of time. I mean, you didn't come there to hear us.
Yeah.
You want us to get on a bus and go to Austin and beg.
Yeah.
And so what was this about a march? So we finna march
nowhere.
And it was somebody's birthday.
I'm
not marching nowhere.
He said he was so excited. And it's the 31st, and it's somebody's birthday, and we gotta go march. And I was like, and we gonna get with Chief Finna. I'm like, let me call Troy and tell him, boy, I need you to get these people back on this back street that's drag racing and city gas.
Chief Finna got his hands full with this crime that he can't solve.
Yes, Monica, HISD. Finna got this. I'm trying to call Finna and say, listen, Troy, baby, come get these people drag racing on this back street. You get more action on this back street than down there with the folks marching and getting hot. They gonna need a lot of water. Just horrible.
Yeah, this was sad.
Right. Well, happy birthday. Exactly.
But marching, let me tell you something. I don't have the time to do no marches.
I don't have the energy.
I don't have the time to come into the church and sing the old Negro spiritual. I don't have the time. I'm not here for that. We spent a whole hour just acknowledging people.
One after the
first full hour. The first full hour was acknowledging people.
And standing up, giving those standing ovation. I'm not standing up no more. Listen, because if I stand up again, I'm walking out this door.
Listen, Pastor Wood even. Wood got you ready to go. OB Wood went on out that show. He was like, he 92. What was they talking about? He the first civil rights, and he too is fed up. So
I mean, it's bad right now.
It's bad. It's horrible.
It's bad, but people have not seen how bad it can actually get.
That's right.
See, when you play with education, you end up like Chicago.
Yep.
When you play with education, you end up like Baltimore, Newark, New Jersey. That's what you get when you play with education.
Yeah.
So And then of course I got the superintendent want his contract renewed. Nigga, please. For what?
Renew it and he won't be there.
We got schools that got snakes in the grass.
Right.
And he told a lady when she pointed out a snake in the grass, oh, I've seen worse. For real, dude?
Wow.
Where they find this dude at, man?
I thought he came from Memphis, Tennessee.
No, came from Clarksville.
Oh.
Tennessee.
Oh.
And
that's it. How far is that from Memphis? Or Nashville?
and she said, let me put this comment up. Because that might have been when I was outside. She said,
yeah.
Bring 10 parents and we need 1,000 of you to show up at Austin. For what? For Greg Abbott to call DPS on you? Because if you go down there playing with him, he gonna show you. You ain't gonna look. Let's just get this straight. It's not another lawsuit that they can file.
Right.
That's done. The mandate has been sent down by the court. It's done.
Right.
So what you gonna do? Go down there and strong arm it? But at the end of the day, Greg Abbott didn't put you in this position.
Right.
You've been doing this for 30 to 40 years. 30 to 40 years. Wasn't no Greg Abbott. Wasn't no Dan Patrick. Wasn't no Mike Morab. Wasn't even no TEA. You've been doing this for 30 to 40 years.
Yep.
And now that state law has caught up with you, you don't feel like the law should apply to you. But prior to you, it was 15 other school districts that got taken over since 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Since 1991. So here's my thing. If you don't want a TEA takeover, admit that you've been stealing the money. Mm-hmm. If you don't want a TEA takeover, admit that you segregated our school district. You never got past segregation. Mm-hmm. Just like Erica said, you got the affluent schools on a monthly rotation to cut their grass.
I do.
But down here at Yates, we got to go buy our own damn lawnmower.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Oh,
and here too, and I have paid for that baseball field to get cut.
You see what I'm saying? So people don't understand the anger and the frustration that we have, and then to sit in a room with your quote unquote leaders. The first thing I'm gonna say, ain't now one of y'all my leader. The high power, Jesus Christ, is my leader. That's why when the pandemic happened, I'm not taking no vaccine. God is my vaccine. It is what it is. I am not about to sit here and play with these people. You can go get your ass on that bus and go down to Austin if you want. They're going to give you a sandwich bag. They're going to give you a bag with a sandwich in it for you to eat. You're not finna eat a hot meal. And then you're going to go there, you're going to walk around the Capitol, and you're gonna go meet your legislators who don't have enough votes to make anything happen. What you need to be doing is trying to meet
if you're going to see Harold Dutton, he's going to tell you straight off the cuff. I told y'all this. I tried to help you, but y'all said I was against you. So there you go.
See, that's the one thing I don't like is they try to throw Dutton under the bus. They try to throw him under, but you know what I like about him? Dutton got some gangster in it.
Oh, always.
Dutton got some cuss words that even I ain't got. And he don't care. He gonna tell you what's on his heart.
Because the thing is that he is in the community. That's the part that they don't give him credit for. This man actually lives in the community. He actually does go and visit the school without the cameras. He really does give the parents advice. When you have a meeting, he actually shows up or he sends a representative, but less likely he'll send a representative. He's gonna come.
But you know
and he's going to tell you the truth. That's the part that they don't like.
But you know what? With Mr. Dutton, they won't tell the truth about why Dutton even wrote the bill. He wrote the bill because Terry Greer refused to meet with him to discuss why Wheatley was continuously failing. That's why Dutton wrote the bill. But Dutton said, I didn't think it would ever get to this point. I thought, well, the bill is there. They're going to be scared. They're going to fix the schools. but they still never fixed them.
Nope.
They still never fixed them. So to think that we don't get enough money to run our schools, well, didn't we, what, a year, some ago, you know, didn't we have a trustee get indicted by the feds for playing with the money? Didn't we have a COO that was doing unethical things and illegal things with the money?
Locked up right now.
Come on.
You got you had $2 million for special ed that came up missing.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden last year, Miller House, we located $300 million that was unaccounted for. How do you unaccount for $300 million? But yet next year we got a $60 million deficit, but you find $300 million.
The math ain't mathing.
Well, they see the one thing about us three is we got an education when they were actually teaching us something.
When one plus one was 2.
So if you got $300 million, but yet you got a $60 million deficit. So you take the 60 from the 300. What that means is that equals some niggas going to jail.
Exactly.
So where the 240 million?
Where that money at? Right.
That's just like they want a $5 billion bond. $5 billion. They want a $5 billion bond, but you could get a $3.5 billion bond with no tax implications. But you want a $5 billion bond. Why would we need $5 billion to rebuild schools that you say you're going to close?
Right.
Because the last bond you passed, you're getting 8 or 9 million. Once the bond passed, you got 52.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mr. Hernandez. Yes, Jose. Yes, the school lottery money does go to the schools. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a part that we need to also make sure that people are educated and knowing too, that education is not without money. That is the only fund. Thank you, Mr. President Obama. That is the only funding that people cannot touch. That's why they're so big about investing in educational locations and putting investments into programs. That's why political people stay in the education system, because it's the only location where really, truly, it's very less likely that grant money, freelance grant monies, they call it, is not accounted for to that degree. Because if you say, I'm going to teach children how to read from the age of pre-K to 2nd grade, it doesn't require much. You just pick up a book and say, come on, y'all, children, we're going to learn how to read this book. All right, little Johnny can read. Y'all say, little Johnny can read. Little Johnny can read. Yay, good job. And now we've taught little Johnny to read. And the money, it just, poof, go away. Education money is always there. We're going to always have education money. Now, it's not going to be a lack.
In y'all district, you don't have to name the schools. Do you know of 5 schools that should have tutorials and enrichment programs after school? Do you know of 5 schools?
Absolutely.
Do they have them?
It should be Forestbrook Middle School, Cook Elementary, Cashmere High School, North Forest High School.
North Forest High, yeah.
And also Elmore Elementary.
Okay, so now you name those. Of those schools, how many of them actually are getting what they're supposed to get?
I'm sorry, I went to sleep. Yeah, none of them. No, correction. Okay, so there is tutorial going on at Elmore Elementary. They do have.
So we got one that's getting tutorials.
Yeah.
But see, what nobody understands is we got $1.6 billion in ESSER funds that should be able to pay for the things that you just said. Absolutely. But if they don't have them, then where's the money? Because there's some vendor that's saying they're supplying the services.
Yeah, because the vendor is the friend. The vendor is the friend. You know how this goes. You're my friend. So Tamika's my friend. She has the curriculum that I need. So therefore, hey friend, You're gonna be a vendor.
I'm gonna pay you.
And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get you paid. We're gonna bust down that check.
Yep.
And
that's what's happening.
Don't worry about the assessments and all that stuff, girl. We'll work that out later because I'm the one that's supposed to report your assessments.
Yep.
Let me say this here.
But here's the part, Monroe, that we need to be noting and knowing these things because, just being a vendor myself of HIS since 2017, there's an audit that's gonna happen. Why? Because you too, as the vendor, supposed to have your paperwork together. So when the feds come, they're looking for you too. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that I'm gonna say. We got some very important people watching us right now. So I'm gonna say this real slow. We ain't fucking around with y'all, man. We're not playing with y'all, dog. I don't give a damn who you think protecting you. Whatever. We're not playing with y'all, man. At all. And you are willing to protect a rogue superintendent over our children? You sitting up here, Bishop Dixon. You're telling us what's best for our children. Where your kids go to school? They ain't in no public school.
To St. Pius. Oh, I'm sorry.
They ain't in public school. So why they not in public school? Why they not in public school? Y'all know what's best for our kids.
St. Mary's.
Let me try this. You had board members that were there during my tenure who kids never went to our schools. Your kids went to private schools. But yet you know what's best for our kids. Don't guinea pig my babies no more, man. I'm ready to, I'm about to go off the deep end.
But that's why I say we got to have some real, serious, honest, straight chaser. You know what I mean? Listen, we got to have some real meetings.
Well, how you going to have a real, if you invite these people, how are me, you, Nikki, and the rest of us, the Travises, the Larrys, the people that do the work, how can we have meetings with pathological liars that believe their own lies?
Can't do it.
It's not possible. What you can't do is spoon feed me. Like my mama say, tonight was a prime example. And she used to say all this stuff, and I didn't know what she meant. She said, you're going to meet some people that's going to spoon feed you fat until you get old enough to eat shit. That's what y'all did tonight. You think you can spoon feed us fat and we can't smell it, huh? Stop playing with us, dog. Stop playing with us. I said it earlier, and I ain't going to say it the way I said it. When y'all was slurping on that thing tonight, you didn't even have a condom on it. I don't know what shade of lipstick y'all decided to put on tonight with all the ass kissing that was going on in it. But it wasn't no conversation about no takeover.
Because everybody's agenda. Everybody's
the weakest prayer revival that I have ever been to in my life.
I mean, we got to talking about Lena Hidalgo and Harris County and what project, programs we have. What do Harris County got to do with HISD?
I had somebody, and I know you brand new to this, so I'm going to answer, why are you so vulgar? Because I'm a vulgar. I'm that dude, bro.
When you're disrespected, you get vulgar sometimes.
I'm saying it is what it is. And I'm going to be who I am. So I'm going to tell you why I'm so vulgar so you can get it. For 14 years, whether I was on my feet or in a hospital bed, I was advocating for these kids. For 14 years since I showed up, ain't nobody closed no schools on me because I'm not putting up with it. And you know what's amazing right now? That I leave it on the floor every day and I ain't got one kid in the school system. But I know what's going to happen to these kids if they don't fix this educational component. And ain't none of us ready.
You know what, Gary? I'm gonna let you cool it down. Let me get you there. Yeah. Here's the thing, Miss Broussard, is that his words choice is vulgar, but here's the thing. that meeting was really truly more vulgar than what he's saying out of his mouth to express himself. And the reason for that is because the parents who you discredit and say they don't show up for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They showed up with an intention to learn, to be educated well, and to have some kind of knowledge and information, and really seriously have something to go back and have a conversation about so they can know what's the next move for them. And the responsibility of accountability was not given, and transparency was not provided. So that's vulgar. That's disrespectful. And that right there alone brings on the anger that Gary is expressing, because guess what? That was wrong. That was wrong. Like, you literally sat there and took a time of opportunity to make it all about your agenda, your motive. Yeah. And the thing I hope and pray that the lesson that was taught tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you were in that room, pay attention and say to yourself, was this clear as glass of where these people are with us? Or was there still fog to the window where I'm going to run into it and I'm going to end up getting cut by the glass? Because it was clear that there is not going to really be a real life solution, and they're not looking to be a part of a real life solution. So we got to now, as we say, police our own communities, build our own communities, and do what we have to do to make sure our communities are taken care of. Because at the end of the day, the only people that's hurting, yes, what Gary said is the truth. Guess what? Gary don't have any kids in the school. My children are no longer in the school. Tamika's children are no longer in the school. But guess what we do? We fight just like we done dropped our babies off in these people's hands in the pre-K. So we don't go up in there with the mindset, and I think this is probably the first time that we've sat on here and publicly said, we don't have no kids in this fight. Yeah. But guess what? We fight for all children because we advocate for kids who do not have the ability to speak for themselves.
And the truth of the matter is, it's all, whether we have kids in a school or not, them closing schools is going to become all of our problems.
Going to be all of our problems.
So I would, beg some of these parents to get just as upset about their children's education, and let's be a part of the solution. Because if we don't come together and fight for the solution, it's going to be our problem. And Monroe kind of lose it first by the don't get up.
You're breaking up.
So you might not like his delivery, but the truth of the matter is, you're going to have to get upset too. You're going to have to get upset enough to get out here and get boots on the ground, be just as concerned about your kids or your neighbor's children getting a good education.
Yep.
Education is the foundation to these kids' survival.
Yep.
They can't survive without it. They can't. I'm sorry. I don't care what politician is watching this. They can't survive without it. And every time it comes to educating our children, we have to beg for something.
Yep.
We pay the same taxes as they do on the West Side.
Yep.
Yeah.
We pay the same taxes that they do in River Oaks.
Yep.
But see, the difference is, especially at Lamar, the taxes them people paying ain't for their kids. Their kids don't go to that school. Our kids do. They suck our kids up from our community and sit them over there. So if they got high quality teachers, then why we don't have high quality teachers?
Yep.
If they got extracurricular programs, 26 of them in Lamar, well, why we only got 5 over here at Yates?
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me about equity, because the word doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There is no equity. There's segregation.
Yep.
And we have to accept that we are a segregated school district, and the people that should be fighting for us are the main ones that's keeping us segregated.
Mm-hmm.
I take you here and you'll understand me better. When Biden went into office, they had the House, the Senate, and the White House. If you wanted to pass reparations, why you didn't even try to take it to the floor?
Yep.
You know why? Because some of our own people would have said, don't give it to them.
Yep.
See, they got to keep us begging them. They got to keep us dependent on them. They got to keep us, making the phone calls to the trustees. I got a problem. When in all actuality, if money solves the problems in the schools in River Oaks, then why you not investing no money in our schools in Northeast Houston?
Yep.
Why you not investing no money in our schools in on the south side of Houston?
Yep.
Because you are purposely using education to create a realistic permanent underclass. You need somebody to work in McDonald's. You need somebody to be the boy that's pushing the carts at Sam's. That's our kids that are graduating that have to go get these menial jobs. And then you tell them, well, I got a job, Nikki. It pay you $20 an hour. $20 an hour don't mean nothing no more. That don't mean nothing no more.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't giving them the type of education they need to be able to go to college. So they don't even believe that they can compete in a college classroom. But see, ain't nothing wrong with our children. I'm going to say that off the muscle.
That's it.
It ain't nothing wrong with our kids.
Yeah.
The one thing each one of us had in common, and even every one of you out there watching, there was always a time that none of us could read. Somebody taught us how to read. So when you got a kid and you using No Child Left Behind and you just pushing them through the system, even though they flunked the STAR test, this the test you say you got to pass to go to the next grade, but they flunk it and you send them anyway. You're creating a permanent underclass. And more importantly, why in the third grade they can identify children for prison beds, but they can't identify them for college?
Mm-hmm.
And you know the sad part? And I don't care what nobody tell me, especially with our kids not getting a quality education. Right now, you can get a better education in the state penal system than you can in the school district.
Yep.
And then the people that make the decisions, like Nikki said, I don't know how y'all can sleep at night. I don't know how you can sleep at night. You know, I'm in college right now, and I got out of a group meet yesterday. And I got out because we're in a geology class. So this class is pretty tough. I don't know nothing about no rocks, but they just sitting in there arguing on the group me and say, man, when we gonna all just get together and do the assignment together? You know what I told them youngsters? Look here, I'm gonna holler at y'all, dog. Because I'm rocking on a 1986 diploma. And I'm walking circles around them in the classrooms with their 21st century learning. I'm walking circles around them. And if the people that make the decisions don't understand what you are doing, then Pastor, you tell me. To me, you're committing sin against these kids. And according to that Bible, if you're committing sin against children, you should have a millstone wrapped around your neck and thrown into the deepest sea. There's a special place in hell for each one of you. Especially you false prophets that were sitting up there tonight. Up there lying. Ain't talking about no takeover. Why I need to know about Lena Hidalgo? You talking about the county judge that ain't never been to one of our struggling black schools? You talking about Rodney Ellis, who's a county commissioner, who's a graduate of Worthing, that don't set foot in the school unless the camera's there? Come on, man. We know what's going on here. But before any one of them think that we just gonna let you close Wheatley, You finna have a fight on your hand, partner. You didn't give them what they needed to work with. And if you ain't got the backbone to stand up for those kids as a public official, you should resign your office immediately.
Mm-hmm.
TEA didn't do that to that school. HISD did it to them. They refused to give them kids what they needed. They refused. But I bet y'all ain't got no problem with all the functions you go to with all the fancy food without tax money. You ain't got no problem with that. But yet our kids go to school and eat that slop. Y'all can't even feed them a decent meal when they there. You can't even feed them a decent meal when they in these schools.
Because they used to cook.
I don't know why they stopped doing that. You can save a bunch of money cooking the food.
They used to cook.
You can save a bunch of money. But everything became a money
scheme.
The
cook used to cook.
Everything became a money scheme.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, they had to stop doing that. Well, we got to put healthy stuff in there. Well, let me ask you a question, because I'm a big old boy. I didn't ask you for nothing healthy. I need all my calories, man. Them kids like hot dogs. Them kids like hamburgers, man. They like nachos, man.
And the meal was healthy.
It was healthy. Yeah.
But you know what, Nikki? You feed our kids anything in the black schools, but ain't one of them high schools got a whole Outback Steakhouse in them?
Chick-fil-A.
Restaurants in their schools.
Mm-hmm.
And our kids is eating something on a tray, look like it comes
they
from
can't even
the
recognize. Something they can't even recognize.
You know, the fact that we have Bel Air getting the best of both worlds, and they get Bel Air money and they get Houston money at the same time, and they have a facility that is stated that nobody else from HISD can use it.
Yeah. But
then we're still pretending on this bond money, pretending like the bond money gone. The bond money is not gone.
But Nikki,
it's still
nobody can use the baseball field at Bel Air.
No.
But yet they were trying to strong arm Booker T into letting other schools use their pool.
Mm.
Yep.
But yet the kids at Yates they got, a turf field from the Texans. They need $450,000, and the field at Bel Air cost $2.5 million. But now it's up to $5 million, and they gave them the other 2.5, but won't get the black kids $450,000.
They won't get a black kids $150 to get their field cut in.
Our kids had to practice. Our kids were preparing for a playoff football game, and because we have no lights on the field, had to practice in a parking lot.
Don't start Nikki about the lights, please.
We all supposed to have lights.
Well, yeah.
Fort Benning's not richer than HISD, but every one of them schools got a turf practice field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our kids out there, them fields feel like we were playing on the concrete back in '79. Our uniforms, like the Booker T boys, they go in the state, God bless them. Man, go down there, take care of your business, bring that trophy back to Studewood. And I'm a Yates Lion, proud of them. Say, man, can them kids go to Austin in some new uniforms?
Right.
Show them kids some love, man.
Yeah.
You see what
I'm saying? Because the rule is that you're supposed to every time you win, every year, every from what I remember when we were in school, varsity, we received new uniforms every 2 years. So you get new uniforms, and then if you went to state, you were gonna get some uniforms.
Yeah.
They used to give out Letterman jackets. These kids have to pay for their Letterman.
You gotta pay for them. Yeah.
Like and that's in the budget. Let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the athletic budget.
Athletic budget all day and all night.
But everything that we get, we have to beg for it. And people want to make us rationalize the actual begging. Mm-hmm. I'm not begging for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to, well, we need to go to the table with the governor. If I need to have a conversation with the governor, you tell him I got my own table.
Right.
I'm not going to his table. I'm not going to anybody's table.
And it's low access for him too.
Right. Roll on to the table.
They don't have, let's get this straight so people can understand. They can write any bill they want in the Texas state legislation right now. If it pertains to this takeover, it's not going to even come out the committee.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming out. They don't have the muscle or the votes to get anything passed right now. So if you don't have the muscle or the votes, instead of trying to strong arm somebody, it will make more sense if you pick up the phone. Mr. Governor, I need to have a conversation with you. I need to have a conversation with you.
But and this is my issue with the braid in the meeting when she said get 10 parents and then she need 1,000. You asking us to do your job. In the 30 years that you've been in office, you ain't made no connections. Like where I mean, do your job. We shouldn't at this point be begging. I just don't understand.
They can get the 1,000 people if they keep spinning the narrative. If they keep trying to make people believe that everything is racist and the Republicans is trying to mess over us, oh, they'll get 1,000 to go down there, 1,000 blind ones. But see, us three, we ain't gonna be on no bus. We ain't gonna be on blind. We know what the deal is.
And that's their fear. Their fear is that we're going to influence their thousands not to go.
I mean, why should they? Why you didn't get 1,000 people to come over and help us save these failing schools? Why we didn't have 1,000 tutors in Kashmir when they had failed that test for like 7 years?
Right.
Why we didn't have 1,000 tutors in Wheatley?
Right.
See, they done made their money.
Yeah. And let's say this here. Let's educate people on TEA. TEA, they keep saying this stuff about TEA should be looking at us. No, baby, they look at paper. So they're going by what you said. So you get mad at them. They made us a B. Why they want to close a B school? Because you sent them the false documentation. You sent them the finagled numbers. So that's what they're going with. So now their job is to come and audit and really come up with a plan, if possible, for a plan to even be made. They're not coming in trying to tap nothing. They coming to be able to cross-examine what you sent in. So while you getting mad at these people, you got folks that is sitting in that Hattie-Mae White building sending false narratives. So now you're going to be up day and night, getting some overtime on us, and coming up with these false stories that you think gonna pass. It's not. Because guess what they do? And let me educate somebody on that too. TA is not bringing people from Austin. They're coming from other places too. Because this thing is so big, they're bringing a team to a team. Because they don't even trust the people that's right there in Austin to be able to make a solid decision. So they have also contracted out others who are coming in to look at this from the serious perspective of what you said. So if you say Gary class has 5 Latino boys, 3 Latino girls, 2 African-American girls, 1 Asian girl, 1 mixed diverse kid, 1 black boy, you better have all them people in that class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they all better be coming to school. Because here's the thing that you have to understand. When they do the reference checks of all of your attendance, and it shows that little Johnny boy don't really come to school, because they gonna call and you gonna lie and say, Johnny mama didn't give us a good number. Well, Johnny mama gonna be able to call and say, what I've been gave y'all my new number, because we fill out a new packet every year that you attendance clerks do not update.
Right.
So therefore, now, and I know it's the truth, because guess what happened? But my children ain't been to HISD for the last 3 years now. They graduated. Why y'all still calling?
You know where they gonna get caught at? And
Why
I
y'all
hope
still?
y'all
And
important
I'm talking
people
about
out
like
there
y'all
that's
called me
listening.
today. So
You know where
let
they
me know,
really
y'all.
gonna get caught at, Nikki and Tamika?
Yeah.
Is when they audit those classrooms and find out that they don't have those certified teachers in those classrooms.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
the teacher of record documents have been altered. That's when they gonna get caught up,
But
man.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to you. All of the paperwork that you finagling, it's not your math ain't math.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna add up.
It's
Yeah.
not
So
adding up.
this TEA is coming in to look at your numbers. They're looking at what your numbers are, and they have a solution. And their solution is one that you're not ready for.
Yep.
And that is based upon the numbers and the findings of what we see. You are not responsible for this school. So we have to close due to the fact that you was not responsible with this what? MONEY.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what they doing. They are there to secure the bag.
Yep.
Because guess what? When you become a public school, when you become a chartered school, when you become a governmental private school, and they approve you, the people do not delay your money, baby. They put it in your account. And cha-ching, from that day forward, you are now accountable for every red penny, cent, and dime. So therefore, they got to come back now and check. Uncle Sam want to know what you're doing with his cash.
Mm-hmm.
So while we sitting up here saying TA is a bad thing, no, we need to be educated. Let's have conversations with TA. I remember when we talked with AJ. Remember that, Gary, Tamika, when we talked with AJ, and he came down here. We had the meetings with him the first time around with this TA situation.
Yeah.
And he came down here and we was talking with him, and really, truly, honestly, we were all at the mercy of what can we really do. And AJ was very transparent with us and told us. And I remember him saying, and if they don't do this, here's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told us. And that's why, and that was what, 5 years ago? And they haven't done anything differently.
Yep.
So when you ain't did nothing different in 5 years, then what you expected these people to do? You had a 3-year break during the pandemic.
Yep.
To fix your schools.
Yep.
And you got 40 to 50 schools failing, but they all in the same neighborhoods.
All neighborhoods same.
All in the same neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
1 year, they IR improvement required. The next year, they made a B. They made the B. The next year, they flunk it again. And then, a lot of people think, I see what the union do, how they pimp the teachers. And it's only to get more. They every time you look up every year, they want more money. They don't care. They're not lobbying for you teachers to get more money. They need you to get more money so they can get more union dues out of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they doing it for. You see what I'm saying? But like when I ran for school board, my thing was this. They were making what? 52? I said that a first-year teacher should make no less than $75,000 a year. Yep. That's where we should have went. Oh, well, we can't afford that. You can afford to get his superintendent $75,000 more than you gave Dr. Grenita Lathan, who got you the results.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't afford to give these teachers that kind of money. Well, my mama always used to say, and my daddy said it too, some days you get what you pay for.
It is.
And that's why we lost a lot of good teachers. A lot of teachers went to other districts that would pay them more money.
A lot of teachers went to charter schools and made less because they got sick of the headaches. They got tired of being treated like dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You don't allow, a kid will go to college, graduate, they want to be a teacher. And then once they become a teacher, they find out they're not really allowing me to teach what I've learned in college.
Mm.
So why are you making them go to college? That's why Well, they need to be certified. Now, y'all need to drop that, dog, because, I mean, they not even using the skill that they learned in the classroom. That's just like me. I want to be a prosecutor. I want to be an attorney. I want to own my own law firm. Why am I studying geology? I don't need that. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is, you get them in the classroom. It's not that we have bad teachers. This is my assessment. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. What you have is a bunch of teachers who never wanted to be teachers. They were in another field. And they have a degree. They couldn't find a job. So they ended up coming and teach.
Yep.
And now they don't know how to do it. And your personal development of one day for 4 hours is not working. So the people that want to teach ain't coming to HISD straight out of school. They already know, no, don't do that. They don't know how to treat their employees. That's obvious. Miller House treated Tiffany Guillory like she was a dog at Yates in December. You don't treat people like that and expect for people, when you think people not watching and you think these people going to come work for you. No, they're not coming. And the way this district is right now, with the looming takeover, you're not getting, ain't no teacher coming in. You stupid as hell if you sign up to come here right now.
And it's so funny because every school district got a not hiring sign up there. It's so funny. I said that's so petty. They got not hiring signs up. They so petty.
They ran them out. I mean, the pandemic by itself, they were overworking them during the pandemic. They were grossly overworking them. You wasn't giving them bonuses. They just getting what they were making. When you think about it, Millard House works 9 to 5. The average teacher works 16 to 17 hours a day for $61,000.
Right.
Not Gary Monroe. I'll go get back on the stripper pole before I work for that. Not Monroe. No, you ain't gonna get 17 hours out of me every day. And that's why I don't understand why some of them were in there at night. You drinking the Kool-Aid. You doing this. Why are you in here knowing that you on the phone with me, telling me how horrible the superintendent is, but yet you standing up when the man say give him a standing ovation?
Because you do know why, right?
Oh, I know.
They're not of quality. Because those that are quality wasn't there.
No, and they wasn't coming.
Quality teachers was not in that room. And the ones that were quality teachers, they were very quiet. They were looking. And they did not sleep twice. They was trying to pay attention because again, they came with
they came to listen. They came to hear.
See if there was a real solution there.
Yeah.
Everybody came in there with the same one unity, one sound, one voice, and that is everybody came with an expectation that there was going to be a solution to a problem, and there was not nothing.
Yeah,
nothing offered.
And this is the other part of it that really, 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 truly is horrible. Is that again, the people who should have spoke up for the people in those seats and positions should have said, "Hey, we need to let these people talk. We need to stop this part of it." Somebody like for real, like everybody that got up on the stage to say something should have said, "You know what? I'm such and such, and I am this person in this position. But you know what? I would love for us. I'm gonna take my 2 minutes and give it to somebody in the audience."
That agenda was already set from the. Yes, it was already set. Even the media person, they were particular on who they interviewed. When it was time to talk to someone like me or Monroe, oh, they got to put their equipment up now. They don't have time. But you was just interviewing somebody else that was speaking highly of the meeting.
Of course.
But, they don't want to hear the truth.
They want to push a narrative that meeting went so well and it was so accomplished. And that's the clip they're going to show on the news.
That was the clip they showed on the news with all of our crazy selves sitting in that audience looking confused because we thought we were coming to hear a solution, but we was
I
really
wanna,
invited
I
to
want to go
fill
on
the
record
seat.
to say, I want to go on record there saying if they did scare the audience with my face, I was not okay with that pep rally. I was mad because I didn't have my cheerleader pom-poms, nor my cheerleader skirt. Nobody told me that we was gonna be at the pep rally.
Yeah, and I mean that really just like, man, are you serious, dude? And you know what's so crazy? All the foot soldiers, all the boots on the ground were sitting together. And each one of us felt the same way.
All of us looking at each other like, what is this? Yeah, we always like, because at first I told them, I said, wait, Gary, let's see where they're gonna go with this. He said, but no, I'm gonna leave. I'm like, wait, let me see where they go with this. Because I didn't want you to miss the time. I thought they was probably gonna just go on and go into conversation. And audience never did.
What was funny because I had to park on the street. When I got in the parking lot, I walked past Nikki's car. I said, "Oh, this is gonna be funny."
Yeah, because
I hadn't even called you to tell you I was coming. I'm like, "What is this? What are we doing here? Like, really, what is this meeting about?" And here's what I have a problem with, and maybe y'all can help me. I love the Lord. Nikki, no, I love the Lord. I love church. But I'm so sick of these politicians using our church leaders
because it's a safe place
to be a voice for the people that they don't even represent. They don't go to these schools.
No.
So who nominated the church? I nominate the church leaders to talk about salvation. Don't talk to me about children education if you haven't stepped foot in a school.
They
don't go.
They don't go for donuts for dad. They don't go to the school empowerment program to shake their hands at the first day of school.
That's like me going into Memorial Hermann Hospital and say, I'm really passionate about doing open heart surgery. I just want to walk in here and work on a patient. That's not my lane. You know what I mean? So who nominated these church leaders to speak on behalf of the people? What people are you speaking on behalf of? Like it to me, that's the biggest disrespect to me. When you got all these church leaders sitting up here, you give them 2, 4, 10 minutes, but the people that really is impacted, you don't even acknowledge them.
We're not important.
That's the teachers. That's the students. You had the students to get up there and take a picture. You didn't ask them how they felt about it.
That was a camera option.
Yeah, but you didn't ask them how they felt about it. Yeah, but
you broke up.
Yeah, I don't know what I say. But you got the people, and they don't speak for. That's my issue.
We're the only race of people that continuously allow, whether it's school issues or voting issues. I want y'all to think about this. White America don't go ask no white rappers who should they vote for. We do that. Black America need the pastors to tell us what to do. See, that come from the old slavery days. Because the pastors on the plantation, the reverends, whatever they call them, they the ones that kept the slaves in line. They kept God in their business, and that's the way they mentally kept them in line. And this is what they're trying to use on us. And it's not working with some of us because a lot of us are woke and we clearly understand it at this point. So I know for a fact, like they have the Baptist ministers who work directly with Millard House and HISD. I ain't never seen them Baptist ministers in no churches. The only one I seen consistently in the schools. That's what I meant to say. We ain't never seen them in the school. The one I've seen consistently was Pastor Willie Davis. He's right around the corner from Sterling and from Albert Thomas. But then they don't look at Willie the same because he's a Republican. But he's a black man in a black neighborhood that cares about his schools. But the rest of them, I ain't never seen Max Miller come in no school. I ain't never seen that.
Don't do Max Miller. That's my
Oh no, I can go to Yates. I ain't never seen Leroy Woodard Jr. come over to Yates, and he's a Yates graduate. Where they be at? Where they hiding them at? Is they in you locking them in the school store or something? Because they ain't coming to the schools and help us with nothing. So they can keep their ministers when it come to schools. You can keep them raggedy politicians because they don't come there and do nothing either. They don't do anything. And there's one, I said it last night, and I don't care if people get mad. When I got an educational issue and I called City Councilwoman Carolyn Shabazz,
Oh, yeah.
she coming. She coming. It don't matter what school is at. She coming, but who else is doing what she's doing?
That's true.
Yeah.
And she will come to the north side.
Yeah.
Man, Shabazz done came with me all the way to Wharton ISD
Yeah.
to fight for some kids. You see what I'm saying? But outside of that, everybody they got something they want to say. The mayor has a whole educational office that's ran by former trustee Juliet Stepetch. When the last time they been to a school?
They just had to. Oh.
I ain't seen Mayor Turner in no school since he went to Lamar and came to Yates when that boy got killed about 3-4 years ago. I ain't seen him in no school. I ain't giving him no credit. But now all of a sudden, he knows what's best for our children.
Absolutely.
In 2015,
because he's in trouble with our children.
Yeah, in 2015, he was a Texas state legislator.
Right.
When these bills started popping up.
Right.
He didn't fight against them.
Right.
But now you know what's best. Now, you know what the problem is? Ain't nobody gonna want to move to Houston if the school system has been taken over by the state. Ain't nobody finna come lay up in no Houston. They gonna move to Sugarland and Pearland and everywhere else. They want a good school system.
Yeah.
People with new kids, brand new kids, they want a good school system. Why we gotta beg for pre-K programs in our schools? They're not begging for them on the west side. They're not begging for them. How you got running black high schools that ain't got cosmetology?
Right.
How you doing that? And if you're running cosmetology, you should be running barber school at the same time. Well, they can go over to Barber Jordan. No, I go to Worthing. I don't go to Barber Jordan.
Exactly.
I go to Wheatley. I don't go to Barber Jordan. But if you think about it, back in the day, tell me if I get it wrong, because y'all was in North Forest. I was in HISD. HISD schools all had the same thing: radio, TV, wood shop, metal shop. Most of them had auto mechanics.
Yeah.
Each had a separate magnet that was different than everybody else's.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And all of us at a certain time had 2,500 to 3,000 kids in our schools.
Mm-hmm.
And our kids didn't start depleting until they started depleting the programs.
Yeah.
And then you took them to the other side of town and they didn't even want them. Back in the day, come on, man. Can I ask y'all a real question? Why would you put cosmetology in a white school? Them people wasn't rocking with that, man. You had cosmetology in the black schools, but you took it out. And now you want to come give us hotel hospitality. So you're going to teach them how to stand at a counter and run a credit card, huh? You're going to make that sound glamorous.
Right.
Why no black schools got Wheatley has culinary arts, which is a great program.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand because at the time when I first got into this, I was a chef manager is what they called me on a drilling rig. So I was an executive chef, and I learned how to cook because my mom was from Louisiana, and I took home economics, and I got laughed at as a football player. But that's cool because I ended up cooking on a drilling rig for 12 years, and I didn't understand how HISD had culinary arts in our schools. And at the time, Nikki and Tamika, Airmark was the food service provider.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who did Gary Monroe work for? Airmark Offshore.
Yeah.
So why wasn't them kids coming out them culinary arts program, sliding straight into them drilling rigs, making $1,600-$1,700 a week?
Yeah.
They ain't want them to do that.
Yeah.
What they want, this is what they use our culinary arts programs for, y'all. I'm telling y'all what I've seen my own eyes. To cook them meals when they come to the schools.
Yep.
Yeah, they go learn the basics. But the only time they really get to hone their craft is if HISD has a function at their school and they get to cook the breakfast. I done ate some of the breakfasts.
That's the truth.
But yet you ain't trying to hook them up with them offshore. Anybody taking culinary arts and HISD, they should have some type of way to pipe those kids into offshore. Because you cannot run a drilling rig without a cook.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Like, I used to be the manager, and them boys would get out of culinary arts schools, you know, whatever them schools, them fancy schools, and they'll come out there. Well, man, I just finished culinary arts schools. I say, so you know how to make stuffed artichokes and all that fanciness, right? They like, yeah. I say, well, ain't none of that gonna work out here. If you can't fry an egg in a pork chop, it ain't gonna matter. If you can't make no country gravy, it ain't gonna matter. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you don't know how to fry no chicken,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't gonna matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I don't understand where we are right now. Hold on, keep down and
Highlight. I was just gonna tell you, highlight what Keith Down is saying.
In your heart of hearts, you know what kind of meeting this was going to be. Houston is a reactionary city in the Black community. When others play chess, we play checkers. You know, Keith Downing is one of the main reasons that Kashmere High School stopped being a failing school. Along with his partners, Keith and those guys basically created wraparound services. They created it, and they got Kashmere out of that thing. And I was there the day they celebrated those kids passing the STAR test. And as soon as them kids passed that STAR test, HISD came through the door and said, we taking over wraparound services, and screwed the whole game up. What Keaton had established should never have been messed with. And I guarantee you, if Dr. Latham was here, it would have never been messed with. But you go get this clown that the train that left these clowns in Houston. When the Universal Circus came to town, it left a whole bunch of clowns. And let them folk come up in here and changed everything. Like Keith just said, he said they cut out community.
Yep.
They destroyed what they did to get those kids out of our art.
Mm-hmm.
So did they really want them out of our art? Or did they really want that school to get taken over?
They didn't believe it was gonna happen.
No, they didn't believe it at all.
But what they forgot was this here, and this is what is quick that we need to understand, and that is that group of children came from Key Middle School, where Key was in a bad situation, and they pulled Key out of it. How do you know this? I'm the mother of one of those children. That generation of children were kids that were actually going to school, cared for well, and also had the support of family engagement. So when they came along, parents were going on Saturdays to be able to help support when they used to have the Saturday classes, and the children would go on Saturdays. The parents would be a part, and they would do all these great things with them. It was a really big community thing. You had community advocates that would come in and do tutorial help, and all was involved to make sure that these schools were cared for well. So when it came back in again, Granite Lathan went and walked those streets. She held some credit recovery classes. She made sure keep them. They were all involved in making sure community was the first thing there. So that's exactly what ended up happening. There was a plan in place, and the plan was to teach, educate well, provide resources where families were lacking of something. That's what they made sure. So if your family did a survey and it says, what is it that your family is in need of? If you needed light bill assistance, they were getting with people who provided light bill assistance. You needed rental assistance. They were getting people to come on those Super Saturdays for help to get you some rental assistance. What if you needed food? They had the food bank coming. The food banks came, and that's when they were there providing. They started that fresh fruit giving, providing where the families was able to get fresh fruits and vegetables. So yes, it's a proven fact that there is something that works. But you know what happens when something works in our communities? They want to make sure that they discredit it. But let me say this, and let me say what I say all the time. The Bible speaks of the poor. There's always going to be poor people. There's always going to be a widow. There's always going to be a kid that does not have a parent. So what are you worried about? There's no need to worry. There's always going to be a program where you can be able to capitalize off of it. But what we're doing now is we're creating the narrative where it's going to be a bad program, where now you're creating a space where our children are going to definitely, they're going to be in these streets doing some stuff. And guess who's not going to get up at night to come and help y'all?
Right.
All
Exactly.
three of us raise our hands.
Exactly.
You know why we're not going to get up? It's not because we being mean. Ha ha, I told you so. And yeah, that's it, Keith. Brighter bites. That's exactly what it was called. And it's not that we being mean, ugly, and not being fair to you. No. When we have told you it's going to rain, Noah, we are now deciding we're going in our ark 2 by 2 and not coming out until God sends us the sign where the dove comes and tell us it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you got to remind yourself, HISD, how you treated North Forest, how you forced hand stole our district. Now this is called karma.
And I was just finna say it.
Yeah.
They're getting that karma.
Yep.
Now you can be annexed.
Boom.
And they need to do it. They need to stop playing with them. They're not gonna do right. Well, they don't have to ever do right by me. I'm gone. I'm good.
Yeah.
But they'll never do right by these kids.
And I mean, I'm gonna say that. I said it tonight. There's
you breaking up.
Yeah, Tamika, I hate that you're breaking up.
These are the same people that created the problem, so they want to pass this narrative that they have a solution. Look, they created this issue.
These old Negro spirituals need to go sit down somewhere, man. They need to look. Carol Galloway is an icon. She's an icon. Miss Galloway, it's time to pass the baton. It's just time for any one of them that did their time. It's you got Nikki out there. You got Tamika. It's time to pass the baton.
Yeah. Oh, we talk. She know. And the thing is, again, but the Braid need to pass. So, and Braid need to pass that baton. Need to get up. No, she didn't need to get up. Don't give me your baton, baby. Just get up. Just get up and go. Go home. Just
go rest. Just rest.
Because the thing is that, and the sadness of it all is that I asked this question in all sincerity. If anybody can tell me what she do What bill has she completed?
Completed. That's the word.
Not what she has wrote to start off. What has she honestly completed? Which bill has she completed, got passed, and it is successfully running for the benefit of the 18th congressional district here in Houston, Texas?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I mean,
in 30 years.
I'll say this because I know it'll never happen. I know it'll never happen, Keith, and Keith is watching. I will take me, Larry McKenzie, and Travis McGee, and they can go get 3 of their best, and let's have a debate in front of the people and talk education. Let me tell you where you're going to get dog walk. I'm the education advocate. I'm on the outside looking in. I help solve the problems. Larry McGee is a 27-year science teacher, so he's a teacher. He knows all this. Travis is the money man. He can tell you where all the money at. Y'all would never debate us.
Nope.
And see, if you got the teacher, you got the person that understands the finances, and you got the community member, those are 3 elements that you need to turn these schools around, man. Those are 3. Ain't nobody having conversations with our teachers. Nobody's having conversations with our teachers. These teachers do not like where they are right now with this superintendent.
And they're not providing a safe space for these teachers to have the conversation.
No, because if they open their mouth, you end up being like Michael McDonough at Bel Air. Let's get it straight. They can say whatever they want. Michael McDonough didn't like that budget, that first strategic budget plan. And then all of a sudden they went after him.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they went after Nick Ozuna, the baseball coach.
Mm-hmm.
See, they tried to cripple them. They gonna show them. But if TEA take over this school district, I bet you Bel Air find a way to get the hell up out of HISD. And they're going to take every one of their schools with them. And see, the bottom line is if you're not going to do right by the schools, then let us have our schools. We could chart our own schools.
Yep.
And we could take care of our own schools.
Yep.
But you ain't doing right by these kids, man. And it's sad because we have some phenomenal kids.
Yes.
I said it the other night. People were laughing, y'all. I say, you know, some of these kids leave school and they go build a drug empire.
Sure do.
In order to do it, they got to know mathematics. They got to know chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And when it comes to their money, they got to know how to count it.
They do.
So they understand financial literacy. But see, they don't want to give our kids, you know, as soon as our babies, especially in the lower levels, elementary, have a disciplinary problem. Oh, he need to be in special ed. Mm-hmm. No, he don't. You need to call his mom up here and she need to be serious about what's going on. But, you know, I blame them for this because now they created this massive special ed population. And now they can't handle it. They can't handle it.
Medication.
Yeah, because some of these kids ain't taking all their medication.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't handle it.
And not only that too, Gary, a lot of our kids need just what it was that we would have is that teacher that didn't play games and really honestly would take our time. And it's not that teacher was a mean teacher to that degree where they was mistreating them. No, that teacher knew how to get on a level one-on-one and say, hey, come here. Let's get you together real good. Your parents sent you here to learn. You gonna learn. Come sit down and get yourself together. And then you're gonna go to your class and you're gonna follow direction.
When Mr. Mumphrey was at Yates, I call him Mr. Mumphrey because he was the principal at the time. But he was my old offensive line coach, so all I ever called him was coach. I didn't care if he was the principal or not. And he used to sit in the hallway in the old school of Yates when he was the principal. And he'd have his chair turned backwards, and he'd just be sitting there. Kid walking down the hallway. He'd say, where you supposed to be? if the kid caught an attitude, Mumford was cold with this because he increased the enrollment by subtracting. If people understand, because he made them understand you came here to get an education. You're not going to walk the hallways.
Right.
And if that's what they wanted to do, if McNeil was in the hallway with him, Sugar, go on and roll him.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing no games.
Yeah.
But guess what they did? They found a way to get him out. Enrollment increased and they found a way to get him out.
Yeah.
Now, hold on, my good friend Daryl Scott. Y'all know who Daryl Scott is.
Yeah.
Blast Records and Tapes. We all have strong testimonies about the fundamental background that teachers were able to give us that was not given to us at home.
Yep.
When they had a reason to care for the students, not so at this time because of the treatment that's going on in high places. They don't want them to care for them kids.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't want them to care for them.
And this is another thing that I've said. I have also said that let me empower teachers. If all of you great teachers get together and take a little pinch of your 401k and put it together and go purchase the product, those schools that HISD got on for sale signs on, go buy that school and administrate, organize, create, open your own space. I promise you, parents will follow you because the kids will tell their parents, my teacher moved over to this place. Parents will follow you. And guess what else will come with you? That government funding will come over there with you. But you got to be brave and step outside of that little box.
You got to get out your comfort zone.
And say, I just want to be this. Because here's the other part of it. We got to be fair, right, to know. For some great administrators, principals, and persons who are doing a great job, there is pressure that is put on them because they are great administrators. They are trying to create an even space and a space that's conducive to where they want to care for their kids and maintain their life living at the same time. But because they don't go along to get along, they are too under the pressure. So what you do is you take your little ball from that sandbox and you go open up what you need and regulate what you need to regulate, create what needs to be created. Because when you play with their money, they're going to change their attitudes.
Well, what we ain't going to do, we ain't going to keep them up all night, man. I appreciate y'all taking the time out to come and hang out with me. And tomorrow on the Warzone, we got a special time. I'm coming on at 5 with my good friend Thaddeus Matthews, the cussing pastor. And we're going to have some fun. And then next week, I got my man from Flint, Michigan, council member Eric Mays.
Wait.
I can't wait to see that. I love Eric Mays.
Eric Mays is the realest politician you're going to ever see in your life.
Love him.
Ain't no games. And he told me, say, man, I see you ran for school board. He said, I'm going to just tell you this here. He said, I ran 14 times before I won. And he said, I was going to keep running until I won. That's the only way my people was going to get help. So you old Negro spirituals out there, somebody going to get got sooner or later by Monroe. Because I'm going to keep running.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep running because they got to come up out of office. If not, maybe the grave digger will get you first. But sooner or later, I'm going to win one.
And you know what? That's the sad part of it all is that I believe that in order for us to see that change, it's going to have to be where that person is really, truly inspired in life. And when it happens, guess how many times we're going to be so upset because all of the skeletons are going to fall out of that closet.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, but I think too, that's a great thing that you have Eric Mays on because he's so unorthodox. And I think if we really want some real true change, we got to change the representation. And it's not going to always, like the lady in the comments, you might not like the delivery, but the results, you can't deny it.
No, I mean, those that know me I'll always say when I completed an assignment, but people don't even know that, like right now, I'm working 6 assignments at one time.
Yep.
6 of them.
Yep.
In different school districts.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? When it's all said and done, I don't need an award. I don't need any accolades. When I see these kids later on and they understand what I did for them, that's the only thing that matters to me. When a parent calls me, Mr. Monroe, I can't afford you. Well, ma'am, I didn't ask you for no money. And then the only payment I get for representing her special needs child is when that child gives me a hug after I've completed the assignment. That's good enough for me. It's good enough for me.
She said, ma'am, go take your 401 and start your school. I will support. Who that's for?
Yeah.
Who that's for, Miss Renee? Oh, she said since she reflected back on my comment.
I don't get her point.
I tell you what we need to understand, and then we're going to let you go. You don't have a choice but to fix education.
Yeah.
Because if you don't fix it, you will live in a lawless society. And that is something that you are not prepared to deal with. Us 3 know.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
When they crippled North Forest, the crime rate now is 153% higher than the national average.
Yeah.
It's not a game over there on that northeast side, man.
No,
you can get your head tore off at any minute.
Yep.
And you got to be the right person.
Get your head tore off at any minute. But for those out there that at the end of the day, it's already happening, not one can stop the you know what, man? I'm going to say this. Harriet Tubman could have freed more black people if they would have realized that they were slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. King, in the end, said, I led my people into a burning building. What we don't understand is the things that are wrong with black people, we created those problems because we decided to trust the enemy and didn't know the enemy looked just like us.
Look, come on now. Yep.
Didn't know the enemy looked just like us. But see, tonight, Malcolm would have been proud because all of us that were sitting together, we knew who the professional Negroes were. And according to Malcolm, they look like us. They dress like us. They even talk like us, but they're not of us. Mm-hmm. We are governed by professional Negroes who have their own set agendas, who only care about their family and about their children and grandchildren benefiting from what they are doing. Our children don't matter to them. And if they did, they would not treat them in the manner that they treat them. Mm-hmm. That's why it's not hard for me to say, get off your behind if you're able, get down to San Antonio and support them kids from Booker T. Because they need that. It wasn't hard for me to say, I don't care about you adults getting into it, but I'm going to go to this Bel Air baseball game. And I'm going to support these Bel Air baseball kids. I don't care nothing about what's going on with you grown folk. I just want to go out there and support them kids. Mm-hmm. And see, we got to stop being selfish in life. We have to stop. Because y'all out there that's comfortable and you have no health problems, you may not be as lucky as me to die on an operating table and God tell you in your ear, I ain't through with you yet. Because some of y'all, he going to be through with the first rip. He going to be through with y'all, man. Figure out what your purpose in life is and get out here and make it happen. Yeah. Y'all have a good night.